All right, we're going to videotape what we're doing here so we have it for posterity, but we have a leaky landing gear over here, so we've got to change the chevrons out. And so the first step obviously is getting in here and taking the Schroeder valve out so you get all the gas out of the top. And then after we do that, you got two choices. One is to take the entire landing gear off, which would be a major operation. The other is, and what we're going to try is detaching the brake here, and then we're going to take these two, there's two bolts on the top and bottom here that we're going to take out of there, and then there's another bolt that goes through. Okay, I'll do this again. So we're going to take these two bolts here on the top and bottom of this collar here, and then there's another bolt that runs all the way through here and comes out here. And then when we pull this bolt out, there's some pins in there that we've got to break loose. We'll take a look at those when we get there. But the idea is that we're going to slide this whole landing gear off of this shaft, and what that'll allow us to do is then when we pull this nut out, this shaft obviously isn't going to come all the way out because it's got pins in it. So if you're going to get it all the way out, you're going to have to pull the whole gear. But what we are going to try to do is to get to the chevrons because they're packed right here. So we're going to try to take this nut off, pull the landing gear off first, take the nut off, and then as we slide this shaft out, we're hoping we can get those chevrons to come out with it. We'll pack the new chevrons up in it and then put it all back together and put the landing gear back on, or the bottom part of the landing gear. So that's the current plan, and we'll see how this goes as we go along. I forgot to mention that in order to work on the airplane, you have to get rid of the Cujo because he's jumping on our back and attacking us. Hey, get away, get away. So one of the things that you have to do with this airplane is to get the wheel off, you have to let the air out of the tire because it won't slide out from under the fender. So you either have to take the fender off, which is a pain in the butt, or just let the air out. So that's what we're doing. And our thought is we're going to take the wheel off, or the tire off, because it gives us about 8 inches less that we got to jack the thing up to get this out of here. So we're going to get the tire out of the way and then go from there. Okay, we got her jacked up, both tires off the ground, and then we've taken the 2 bolts out of here, and we've taken the rubber bumper off the back, and we're about to drive that bolt that's actually holding everything together out, and then hopefully this thing's going to drop loose. And right now we're getting the brake line taken loose. And what we ended up doing back here in the back is we instead of putting a bunch of sand on the tail, we just bolted it to the floor off the tie down to hold the tail wheel down. So hopefully that's going to hold. And we got they got a chain and a safety chain on it, so that's our contraption for keeping the tail on the ground while we're jacking everything up. Okay, so we got these 2 bolts out, we got this out, the bolt that went through the center here is out, and so now what's actually holding this landing gear to this tube are these pins, and they're half pins that are driven in this way, and then there's one over here on this side that is driven in from the back. So what you can't drive this through because all you're doing is hitting the side of the gear here. So what you have to do is get a punch, put it through the center of this guy. I don't know if we can actually see it, but you can kind of see down through the hole. There's that other thing down there at the other end. We got to get a punch all the way through there to drive it out that side, and then come in this side and drive this one back this way. stop. Well, we're gonna have to jack it up.
Well,
because
I just want to let it set on this while we punch it out.
Okay. All right, I got it. All right, so you want to hold it. You might have to twist it a little bit. All right, you ready?
Yep. You know what? Hold on. Let's lock it there, and we'll pull it up, and we'll just slide the crate out.
Do what now?
Let's just. We'll
Well, I
pull it
was
back.
just gonna let it lay on the crate.
Yeah, but I mean, we're gonna have to take it another. It'll save us a couple inches higher.
Well,
Unless you want to just keep going up.
well, what I was wondering is if we could
If we pull it up, slide the
this
crate
together,
over,
get
we'll
in
just
there.
drop it down, and then it's set on the crate still.
All right, Jacob, come here. Don't touch that. Come over here. I want you to pull the tablet out from under this when we pick it up, and then slide it back. All right, stop right there. All right, you ready?
Actually, no, Jacob, come back towards it. Just touch right there.
Grab that.
I was practicing going in gear.
All right.
on the hill.
So now we got to take the nut off there.
Get a big bucket.
It's starting to rain in there too hard.
All right, so we got that piece out. So now the next thing that we got to do is we've got to get this nut out, and then when we take the nut out, we're hoping that we know there's going to be a shit ton of fluid that's going to come out, but we're hoping that we can get these things out once we get that nut off.
Yep.
Well, I stopped filming just in time.
Somebody said there wasn't much fluid in it, but
There's
Well, I mean, there's really not. Move
No.
it back to the picture.
you know what? One drop of 5606.
Here.
Oh, whoa! That drips out over here. Would end up on the ceiling all the way over there. But that's like a gallon that just came out. Christian took a bath in it. Look at his arms and his knees. That's why I didn't want to get up under there. Oh no!
You didn't want to
I
get
got
in
I got on my good clothes. My new shirt. My aircraft spruce t-shirt I got at Sun and Fun.
hey, what's the markup?
New shoes. I've ruined way too many clothes coming over here.
Where did he go with the...
So, anyways, all right, it's out. You got any final words to say about it being out?
No, I need some new shoes. These were new shoes.
They were new shoes.
I'll buy you a new pair of shoes.
Hell, Glenn even got them on his boots.
Glenn don't care.
Hey, he said he'll buy you new shoes. What happened that time that you helped him and you ruined a pair of new shoes?
I never got my shoes.
Never got your shoes.
Hey, I didn't say I was actually going to go get them for you.
No, he never paid me or anything. Pretty sure he thinks I owe him money. The good thing we got on the tools and bolts. That lubricant.
Alright, well all we need now is the new chevrons and shove all that shit back in there.
I want to hear you say that I don't make messes in your hanger that Christian does,
Why would I say that?
because every time
What's
I'm
that O-ring go to right there?
Whatever.
It was just laying in the floor right here.
I didn't know there was an O-ring laying on the floor right there. Is it on that?
Lay
was
it
it on
over
that
there
bolt?
somewhere.
Well, was it? Grab that bolt that came out, the long one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was on there.
I don't know, but.
Alright, so this thing does come all the way out, which we weren't sure about, and now that we know this, I don't know, we might have done it a little different, but the splines that are on here actually has a fat spline over here on the back side, right here, that slides up in there, so it'll only go back in one way. So now all we gotta do is get the chevrons out of here. Or have you already taken them out?
Are they right here?
All right, so how many were there?
Let's see. 1, 2. It's only 4 chevrons in here, 4 rubber chevrons.
Well, they called for 5 when we were looking
And there's
at
there's a metal.
so there's only 4 chevrons.
Might be why it was leaking.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean it was handwritten on the thing. There's no actual manual to tell us how many were in there. So.
Alright, I'll see you. I'm going to.
All right, we'll see.
So yeah, but considering that this was the only one that was leaking, maybe it's a miscount. Because if they said 5, then they meant to put 5.
I mean,
in.
they wrote 5 on there, but I just don't know. We'll
And
have
then there
to
was
when
a
we put it back together, we'll figure it out.
One
But-
was a plastic.
because the thing is that stack has to be up above the threads. So if you put too many chevrons in there, so you can kind of see up in here. So these are the threads running up to here. So the chevrons stack up here on this side. So you're only going to be able to put so many chevrons in there to not have that nut or the piece getting too far down. So we'll just have to see when we put it back together. So now we're a little bit confused. I have an extra set of gear over here, and this is off the Lockheed. It's got the same pins and same setup down here, but this is all different because inside of here there's a rod that's sitting here that other one doesn't have a rod in it, does it? This part, we'll have to go look at this. But the other interesting thing, let me get this laid down here. The other interesting thing is this is the piece that's actually mounted inside of the airplane, and it's what I just stuck my arm up inside of. And that's where the spline and all that stuff is. But both of these have got this piston in here. So that rod you just saw in that piece slides up inside that piston, and then the tube slides around this. But the one on the airplane that we just took off doesn't have this. So we need to look and see if we have a problem there. The way, and I turned it on. Anyway,
Let me get my light.
you can see this thing is just a hollow tube all the way to the end down there. And there's no way that there would be a rod coming out of this. And this would actually be the part with the rod. And then the other piece ought to have a piston, like that piston piece in it. But this is totally hollow. There's absolutely nothing up in there but splines all the way to the top. So we're gonna have to look into this and see if we can figure out what's going on. Okay, I just want to make a note. The other landing gear that I have back in the back that we were just looking at, I talked to an expert on this, and he said that those are older, the older model landing gear. These, the newer models, they took that plunger system out of it, so it's just 2 hollow tubes now. So if we ever have to use that gear, which I hope we never do, I don't know what the reasoning behind them taking it out or putting it in. But in any case, the other gear I have is an older design, so this is the updated one. All right, we got the new chevrons in. So you can see they've got a groove on one side, they're round on the other side, and they just lock together to give you a stack of chevrons as they go up inside the airplane. So we're gonna start off, I think, trying to put 5 of them on here, and then we'll see where the nut ends up. And because we got 4 of them off the airplane that were on there, but the paperwork that we were looking at said that they had 5 in. So I don't know if they had 5 and they ended up having to take 1 out because it was too thick and they just never updated their paper or what. But we're going to start with 5 and see where we end up. All right, so this is the top most washer, and it actually has a part number on it right there. I'm not sure if it'll read it, but it's like a BR 350406. That goes up on the very, very top. And then this is an aluminum washer, and it's actually concave to fit inside of the washers. It does not have a part number or anything on it. So that goes down in the washers. This piece goes with the flat side down on that washer. So that's the very top portion of this. Is this next?
Yeah.
All right, so then
those all sit on top of that.
So then we have another aluminum washer here that does not have any part numbers or anything on it. So that is going to go on the bottom. So we got a thick aluminum, the chevrons, the chevron washer, and then this top washer. And then is this it?
Yeah, so that's
okay.
That sits on there.
Okay, so we got one more washer.
Yeah, sorry, that's the piece I just said. Yeah.
So
that's your bottom.
No. Okay, we had that a little bit backwards there. We had one more concave washer. It's a little bit thicker than the one that goes on top. So this one up here is a thin washer with that top cap, and then you can see the round part of this goes into the round part of this washer, and then this washer sits on top of this other washer, and then you got the nut on the bottom. So all right, so that's the whole stack. You got the nut on the bottom, the spacer, and then your concave piece that goes on the bottom of the chevrons, another concave piece there, and then that top washer that sits up on the very top. So all of that packs up inside of this piece. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to slide this back up in there and then try to put the nut and stuff on there after we slide it up in there. Just we don't really know the proper way to put this on, but as you can see, the top of this shaft is splined, so the chevrons have to come on from this end. So we're going to try to push this up in there first so that we're not messing around trying to line that up while we've got the chevrons stacked on it, and then we'll put the chevrons on last. So there's actually like grime and stuff in these, so we got to clean all these things out good before we put them in there, because we don't want all that grit in the landing gear. Squeeze it, it keeps running. It's one of them high dollar Chinese. The main reason we do this is so that it gets really, really slimy, so by the time we're done, you can't hold on to it.
So you're doing this for liability so that when Christian screws up, you can go after him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if we didn't have video evidence, then we...
Well, the good thing about here is we always have video evidence of everything.
How's that?
Usually Jacob's involved.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That's it.
Now,
Don't drop it in.
we can't hold on to it.
The fat spline goes to the back. Should turn the other way. This hole should be in the front.
Which hole are you looking at? Oh, okay, I see.
Let's see. Let's turn. This needs to be.
There you go.
Did you clean out inside there?
I wiped it out. Yeah.
Yeah, no. There's nothing like sitting underneath an airplane with no wheel on it.
Just take the whole thing up a bit.
Well, I mean, that's not. What we ended up, we're going to try to do, because we're having a hard time getting this thing to go up in there. We've taken the spacer off the top, and we're going to try to tighten this nut up to get the chevrons to go up in place. And then we'll take the nut back off and try to put the washer back in to hopefully to get it all together. We also took one of the chevrons off so that we're not as thick, and we're going to try to put that last chevron back in there if we can get this to work.
High enough to begin with for it to bottom out.
Well,
Like that, just to make sure that they're not
oh yeah.
just hitting the top of the strut.
You know what? This is actually a better idea. Are you sure the first one's in all the way, or should?
Well,
Not
we're not
anymore.
sure. We're not
We're not
sure
sure
of
of
anything.
shit.
Wait, it's got to go the other way, right?
No.
There you go.
I hate when Jason's right, man. Flew a whole trip.
Oh, look
with
at
him.
that. That went up a lot farther.
I tried to never let him know that he
Well,
was
you don't even need to do that. And just put the nut on there.
No, because
but-
we got that.
Yeah, I know. All right, I got the strut.
Oh, look at that. You got it. What a difference.
Get a little old timer. Did you videotape this?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you didn't say what you did, but you might want to explain.
Well, so what we ended up having to do is we had to take all of the stuff out, put one chevron up, put the washers at the top, put one chevron up, and use paint sticks to push it up all the way around to get it all the way to the top of the groove, and then put the next chevron in and push it up. So we had to do one chevron at a time. And we've
Yeah.
put 5 chevrons in here, which is what the book says is supposed to be in there, but we only got 4 out. So we'll see how far up we can get the nut. We may end up having to pull one of those chevrons out, but
that might be a reason why you had a leak, because you only had 4 in there, and over time it wore out faster.
it could be.
Yeah, the other side probably only has 3.
Man, look at that. I can't believe you actually did this.
Yep.
What a difference.
Yep.
Give that guy.
So that ended up taking care of the problem. We got the nut on, everything's going in. We got 5 chevrons in there. So this is working like a champ. All right, so we got the nut on there. We got about 3
Put the backside.
threads on it. There's a hole right here that the other end of that piece goes in. So you got a square end on it.
Well, I got that over here.
So you got it in the hole.
Yeah, I got in the hole on this one.
All right, and then you got the lock ring on here that holds the nut so that it can't come out. So now we're gonna start putting the gear on. So they're gonna go like that.
That's it. Oh, no, it goes that
Okay,
way.
so it goes that
The
way.
rest of the side goes in.
And do you know which one was front and back, or?
The way I had them out there, but
Is there a difference?
Guesses they're probably the same.
Are they the same length?
Same lengths.
All right, so it shouldn't matter.
All right. Same size.
So we ready?
I'm gonna put them like this. Russ Sag does it.
Yeah, put them over here where they're going to get knocked in the floor. When
You
I
know,
put
if you
this
could do
up.
job right, they won't get knocked. Just pick the thing up. He's gonna knock it just to prove a point.
Well, okay. Tell you what, let's clean this bottom of this out first. What am I sitting on?
The stool?
The bottom of the brake. Figure out how I'm going to hold this while we're doing it.
You want to slide the whole crate underneath it?
All right, get your spacers. Whew, those rivets on your hand feel good on the bottom of that fender.
So that's
Probably-
been real easy. This side, not so much.
Can you get the bolt through and tighten the bolt?
It's right there on the wood.
Did we ever figure out where that O-ring goes?
No, I can't see where that thing would go. I think it was just laying on the floor.
How about on the screw that goes into the top where you when you put
The
the
only thing I
fluid?
can think of is it was somewhere around in here. But
I don't know where it would go. Like nothing leaks here, so
yeah, there's no fluid, so.
is it through enough to get a nut on it?
Oh yeah. I got it.
Alrighty. Well, that wasn't bad.
So I'll tell you that I put the pins in backwards. Front's the back and back's the front.
I don't think it matters.
I hope not. Say we're gonna find out.
It's kind of scary. That bolt is the whole thing.
No, it's the bolts holding the taper pins.
Oh, so
Those
it's the
taper
pins are doing
those
all the
pins
work.
are doing
Okay.
the work on that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then it also gets two big bolts out here that squeeze the.
Okay, I
Squeeze
see.
the
Okay,
strut.
all right.
So you got two going through it and then two squeezing it.
You wanna-
What did you take out of here?
Oh, that was just that little plug.
You still got it?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want me to do?
Tighten that.
We need to get a torque on this because I don't have any idea how tight to tighten it.
I'd get the taper pins in all the way. Oh shit! Hold on. Where does that piece come from? Or is it? That's on the bolt, isn't it?
Oh
yeah,
no!
yeah, it's just a piece of something.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't go on this bolt.
No, it goes on that bolt. It covers the back of this.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing. Yeah, it's hollow through.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. Keep on coming.
Man,
It'll-
how'd you
you'll-
get those out?
We punched them out.
Yeah, just punch them. All right, now you're.
Now I'm out of.
Yeah.
Out of.
I would just. I think we're. I got the pins in
I
here.
mean,
so
that one's all the way in. Is the one back there all the way in?
I think it's in as far as it was, given the fact that it turned it.
Yeah, I mean that was a pretty hefty pull right there. Yeah, I can't pull no more. Not with this anyway.
I think you're good.
All right. So now I gotta put those two big guys back in.
Wipe that off. That's for there's. Put that little plug. Oh no, I left it out so we can see. I don't know what this plug is for, but
What's that for?
plug in the hole.
I mean, I have a hole.
I don't know. Someone drilled one.
Yeah, I don't know unless like
You
Is it on both sides?
it got water or something in it. I don't know.
No, you know what? It
But
might
how would
be-
you get water out of
might have been
that?
for like when they linseed oil stuff, back in the day.
They may have put hydrogen in it so it
Make
flew
the
better.
airplane fly, yeah.
Yeah.
Lighter.
little helium.
That's what I meant.
Put an open flame to it.
You got the ratchet.
All right.
Let me
So-
let me put this plug in real quick before I forget about it.
So that gets no washer on this side. Because we gotta take that washer.
That washer's on this side. Looks like. Is this ground down?
Oh, yeah, right here.
And then this goes. Oh, we gotta take.
You got it. That bottom one has to come out, doesn't it?
Is that it?
Let's see. I got a washer here that goes on one of these. You got a washer up there?
Yeah. Can't see it to get it straight, but
Yeah. Washers. There we go.
what do you want me to do with it?
Yeah, I got the little dinky wrench here. I think there's something called like a ratchet with a socket.
It ain't as fast as this.
Yeah, that's pretty good. They make electric ones.
Bottom one or keep
Yeah.
this one ain't gonna go as fast. Is it okay?
It's just moving this washer.
What are you laughing at?
That's fine.
Did you break?
It's not mine.
All right, you're probably gonna have to torque it, because is that closing that gap any?
No.
That is.
This one down here in the bottom is either a bigger thing because it's not fitting. Hand me the next bigger. All right, so we got the wheel back on. Everything is hooked up. All those two bolts are in and tight. That bolt is in. The pins are compressed. The lock ring is on the nut up there, and we got the nut positioned about the same place that it was before. So, and we do have 5 chevrons in there, not 4. So that is the only difference in the setup, and which is kind of interesting because the nut is in about the same position that it was before when it only had 4. So it may have been a little loose up in there. But in any case, we've got it all back together, and now we're going to put some fluid back in the strut and get it back down on the ground. Okay, so we got everything back together. Now the last step to this is we got to put nitrogen in and fluid. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this back down on the ground, so we end up with about an inch. We're supposed to put it all the way down, fill it up with fluid, and then jack it all the way up and put 145 pounds of nitrogen in it with the thing fully extended. So that's the goal. We may add a little bit of padding there on fluid before we do this, but we'll see when we get there. So she is sitting back on her feet. We've got to get some more 5606 to put in it to get it finished up tomorrow and put gas in it. So we'll get all that done tomorrow, but the hard part is done. All right, so what we're looking at here is the Schrader valve that goes on the top part of the landing gear strut. And what happens is it has a valve stem in there, just like you would have in your car tire, and then that nut that you see on the, not the very bottom part, because that's what screws into the airplane, but that top nut that's sitting there in between that valve cap and the bigger nut on the bottom. That nut, you loosen that up, and what it does is it allows the Schrader valve to open up so that you can put air in it. And then there's also a valve stem that's underneath that cap that you can use to let a little bit of air out if you need to, or if you've got a different setup than I have, you can put it in there like you do in a car tire. But it takes, depending on where you have the strut positioned, could take 300 pounds of pressure. So it's doubtful that you're going to sit there and hold that with your hand. So the one that I have, and I'll show it here in just a second, or we can walk over here and take a look at it. The one that I have is actually screws on so that you can release the pressure. So it's this little, it zoomed out here. It's this little connector here. So you screw this onto the valve stem itself, and then that holds itself on there for you to put pressure on. The problem that you have is that when you get ready to put pressure in, if you wanted to put the proper process for this is to jack the airplane up, get the strut fully extended, and then put 150 pounds of pressure in it. But if you have that valve stem in the end of the thing, you can't just adjust it to 150 psi or 145 psi, because it's not going to go in the strut. That little stem is holding the pressure, so it takes more pressure to get that stem to push in, and then at that point you really don't know how much pressure you're actually putting in the strut. So what we did is we actually pulled the center valve stem out, the like you would in a car. We pull that out and then hook up our screw thing so that we can actually put pressure in. But even then, it takes a little bit more pressure than what you actually have in a tank to get it to go into the strut. So it is a trial and error thing is what I'm trying to get at. It's kind of difficult to get everything. So what we ended up doing is we hooked it up, we went up to 150 PSI, which you couldn't hear it going into the strut. About 200 PSI, you could hear it start to go into the strut. Actually, I'm sorry, about 150 PSI it started to go in, but we needed more than that, so we bumped it up to about 200, 225, and stopped there. When we got done, we needed to let a little bit of it out, so we stuck the valve stem back in, loosened the nut up, and let a little bit more air out to get it about where we wanted it. So right now we've got both of them working. It's been all night and nothing is leaking out, so it looks like we've got all of this fixed. We'll take this thing for a flight test and check it out here in the next few days. And hopefully all of that is going to be solved and we will have no more issues with the landing gear on the Lockheed.